Hey, Mo Barnett. How's it going, Mo Barnett? Are you working or can you jump in? Yeah, if anybody wants to jump in, please do. Wait for a couple of people. This is just going to be a short, quick live. It's almost 4 o'clock my time. I'll be going from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Just a quick little thing. So, wait for a couple of people in, but for the few people that are in, Mo Barnett, go through parts. What do you mean, go through parts that were involved in the build, you mean? Or what do you mean by that? And jump in here if you can. I know if you're working you can't, that's fine. But hey JMR, how's it going? So if you missed it, we are going to be talking about the 440 dyno, how that went today. Got my scale replica of a 440 here. 440, 413. It looks like a Hemi also. The holes are different spots, but it looks the same pretty much. And working with a guy, I helped a guy make these. He made a little keychain one. So that's pretty cool. Gave him the dimensions off of a 440 I had, so then he made them, 3D printed them, and now he sells them. So if anybody's interested in stuff like that, let me know, because he sells them, and I can help get you one of these if you want. Give you the link and whatever. It's a 3D printed 440. There's the small keychain, then there's the big. Sits on your desk or whatever, and they say it works good as a pencil holder. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to do a short little promo video on that for him. Looks like we're getting a few people in. Talking about the dyno, talking about the 440 on the dyno today. So if you don't know, catch you up on what's going on. I got a 1970 440 that was supposed to be built pretty well. Once upon a time, it had a dual 4 tunnel ram on it. The tunnel ram was taken off, and the car was the engine was taken out of the car. So that's the story with that. And it wasn't touched. I got it the way it was taken out of the car, minus the tunnel ram. So I took it apart, found out kind of what was inside of it, and just put it together with new gaskets the way it was. It is 40 over with TRW forged pistons, like the 6-pack style with the 4 valve reliefs. 6-pack rods. It has forged steel crank. It's had a lot of work in the bottom end balancing and lightening in the rods and the crank. 7-quart Myodon pan. Windage tray, Myodon windage tray, really nice windage tray. And 906 heads that are very, very heavily ported. A lot of bowl work done to them. And then some chrome bolt-ons, like their Mopar Performance valve covers, direct connection, chrome timing cover, and stuff like that. And then I put a Y-end accelerator, part number 7512, on it. And that seemed to be pretty good. It's a good intake, but with the amount of porting that was done to the heads, I believe that could have been slightly limiting. It's the cam, we don't know duration specs because the part number on the cam didn't tell us any of that. It might be a custom grind, we don't know. But it's 540 lift. It's a solid flat tappet. Found that out today. I thought it was a hydraulic flat tappet. It is a solid flat tappet. So we got all the valves lashed, 20 thousandths lash with a feeler gauge. We did that on the dyno today. and it has the ISKI 1.5 ratio adjustable rockers. So that's the basics of the build. So I took it apart, found all that stuff, put it all back together. The heads are 906s, like I said, that are very heavily modified. And the trying like the there's a lot of bowl work, and the valves are bigger. Originally, they came with 208 174. These are 214 181s. So that's better. So getting right into it. When we first started, it was a little ticky and a little bit of problems, just kind of trying to get it going. Oh, but before that, even we were looking at the distributor as we were putting it in, making sure everything was oriented correctly related to that. And the distributor had no mechanical advance in it. It wasn't even set up to be able to like spread with the springs. There's no advance in it. The little pins that usually have a slot that slide is just the pin through a hole. There is no slot. So I don't know if that's a racing thing. I don't know if that's some kind of different high performance thing, but it has no adjustability to it. So that was interesting. And then he had a brand new from Mopar Performance, like current Mopar, distributor, brand new stock looking distributor. So we put that in, figuring, okay, well, that'll have advance and that'll work. It was bad. Straight out the box, it was bad. So that goes back to everybody kind of screaming about parts being bad. So that's more evidence that parts are bad. Straight out of the box, it was bad. So threw the original distributor back in with no mechanical advance availability, no advance. So that's just what we ran with. We started at 35 degrees. So, and with a 750 Holley quick fuel. And this first run was just kind of to wake it up a little bit, try to get a little bit of heat in it, get it going. Temperatures were pretty good. One of the header pipes was running a little cold, but it seemed to be okay. So peak number, well, first of all, the first run we ran from 3,400 RPM to 5,000, just to kind of wake it up, get some RPM in it, get a little heat in it with that 750 on it. Peak numbers on that run was 526.1 torque and 470.4 horsepower at 5,000 RPM, and it was still climbing. So we knew that the horsepower peak was going to be beyond 5,000, which we pretty much already knew. And that carburetor wasn't enough. It ran out of carburetor on the first run, pretty much. So I don't know. Is that normal? Yeah, that's normal it's normal for me, at least. I don't know if you guys can read any of that. But it shows 526.1 horsepower at 526.1 torque at 4,300 RPM. Hey, Mopar Nut.
What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Come on, somebody else come. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So, and then the torque is awesome. This engine had great torque, but horsepower, good. But yeah. I was hoping for a little more.
Not spectacular, right?
Yeah.
Well,
so next,
at least 550.
Yeah, I wanted 525. 525 was my number.
Well, 25 off is not too bad.
Right. So the next test we went to the 850 carburetor, because the 750 already ran out at 5,000 RPM for it couldn't even, it used it all up by 5,000 RPM.
Wow.
So the next run we went from 3,500 to 5,500. with the 850, no other changes, 35 degrees timing still. The peak torque was 529.6 at 4,100 RPM. The horsepower ended up 478 at 5,100 RPM. I've got those.
I think somebody's close. That's guesses. Cool.
There's some numbers. I got
close.
those. Yeah, somebody was. There's a couple people that were really close, but nobody got it right. Nobody got it right.
So you're not going to give it to the closest one?
I think I will. I think I will. So then we moved on to having a 1-inch spacer. With the 850 with 35 degrees of timing still. Did not touch the timing at all yet. So with the 1-inch spacer, made the same, we increased the RPM a little bit. We went from 3,500 to 5,800 this time. So this run was kind of showing that it definitely needed a little bit more plenum volume. Peak torque was 537.7 at 4,200 RPM. The peak horsepower was 490.3.
Right, cool. I'll be right back, man. I got probably somebody over.
So yeah, that was what we ended up doing with that. 35 degrees of timing, 850 carburetor with a 1-inch open spacer. Peak torque, once again, peak torque 537.7, and peak horsepower was 490.3. And the nice thing about this, and I don't know if you're going to be able to read it on screen, but I'll show you anyways, is the torque just, it holds and it holds and it holds and it just carries through. And the torque held really good, and the horsepower held really good too. So if anybody wants to attempt to read, those are the numbers for pole number 3. So that is where we can move on to the next test. Pole number 4, we thought we might bump up the timing. We went to 37 degrees of timing. We were at 35 before. Kept the carburetor same, kept the spacer the same. It didn't like that. It went from, let's see, previous peak was 535 and 490. Then it went with extra timing to 533 and 488. So only a few numbers, but it definitely didn't like it. So that was the deal with that. If people want to look at numbers for that quick, that's what we have. Give anybody that wants to read that a minute.
You think more carburetor would have helped out?
I don't think so. It wasn't using all that we were giving it. So we started initially at 35, then went to 37. We're like, okay, well, it doesn't like more. Let's back it off and see if it'll like 32. So we ran it at 32 degrees, kept everything else the same. And at 32 degrees of timing, the torque stayed pretty much the same, 537.9, so 538 pretty much. And the horsepower went up to 493. So like, okay, well, it likes less timing. If anyone wants to look at that, it likes less timing. Only by a little bit, but maybe.
Did you change any jets or anything?
No. Nope. Never did any adjustments within the carburetor. It was tuned pretty good, and I think even if I would have got jets exactly right, it only would have been within
Did you
It
get
only
an
went
AFR, an air
air
fuel
fuel ratio.
ratio? Yeah.
Yeah. I got
What was it?
AFR through the whole run. Average AFR on the previous poll here. I'll pull it up. The average 1364.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
you
think
needed
that's
more. You needed more fuel.
the minimum was 1291, the maximum was 1406. So it could have maybe used a little bit, but I don't think it would have changed it by more than 5 numbers, maybe 10 at the most.
Me and Tall John both agree. He wants bigger jets too.
Yeah. It's already running on 92 octane pump gas. Gas is expensive enough. Leave me alone. So
Oh,
then we
that thing's not
backed
gonna
off.
get no mileage.
Oh, I'm gonna get like 7.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah. So then
If
we
you stay out of it.
backed off the timing more and got a pretty good thing. We were at 32 before. We ended up being at 30.5, so just a little bit, 1.5%.
Would have been nice if it had like an adjustable timing chain. You could have backed off, like, retarded at 2 or 3 degrees to see what happened.
Right.
But it's
Um,
still good. It's still pretty good for that car.
right. 30.5 degrees. The dyno sheet shows peak was 540 torque and 495 horsepower. So we're really, really close there. And the more timing we take out of it, it just keeps on liking it. So we took a little bit more, ended up at 29. 29 degrees is the next sheet here. And at 29 degrees, it produced 541 horsepower. No, 541 torque, excuse me. I wish that was the horsepower number.
Yeah, that would have been nice. You'd have been happy.
With 495, 496 for horsepower. And that was really, really good overall. But then, right at the edge of 500, I'm like, we got to do one more thing. So we took the 1-inch spacer out and we put the 2-inch super sucker spacer with 29 degrees of timing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that brought the torque that gave us 10 numbers on torque. Torque jumped up to 550 just because of the extra 1-inch of spacer. It was a 1-inch and now it's a 2-inch. So an extra inch of spacer. And the horsepower number ended up being 501.6. So I got my 500 number that I wanted.
Yeah, that's good.
I did want a little more, but I'm happy with it. It's going to be really nice in the car.
Yeah, that torque's going to move that car pretty good.
So that's that final sheet there with the 2-inch spacer. So it's really good. Really good numbers overall. Yeah, as far as the air, the CFM that it was taking in, as far as the carburetor question, even in this last test, it was pulling at 6,000 RPM. It was pulling 726 CFM. So, my dyno guy and engine builder and friend and all that, but he said because of everything, the way it's calculated on his dyno at least, the basically whatever it says it's pulling another 100 beyond that.
Yeah, really?
That's the way he explained it to me. I don't know how that works. I might be saying something wrong. So basically,
Did you
it's
check,
pulling.
like, with Blake, we call the percentage, correction percentage?
Yeah, it's fine. My dyno guy doesn't screw me over. I don't know what experience he had, but
Must have been a bad one because he was really on that one.
oh yeah, yep. The Yeah, the air fuel ratio could have been adjusted a little bit, but that's perfectly fine the way it was. Pretty much. I mean, it'll be all right.
How'd the plugs look? Would you pull a plug and see what they look like?
I did not. I have not pulled plugs or anything. I just got the engine unloaded not even an hour ago, and
Cool.
it's sitting. I got it
Now I
all
can
wrapped.
go. Now I can go in the Belvedere.
I gotta paint the engine bay first.
You have to
It's
go
okay.
white.
It'll be white. It'll be white. It'll be easy. No, Mopar not. I'm gonna paint it black.
No, you're not going to do that. I know you're
No,
not.
I'm
I
not.
know you are not going to do that. Even if you try, you could never lie to me because I know you wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that ended up being a fun run there. And for other people that are wondering about more specifics,
Well, what do you figure that motor cost you?
oh, it didn't cost me anything. But
So there you go.
well, I'm not gonna say that, but I got it in a $50,000 parts deal, and it's a very small factor of that.
Right.
So
you generate that back anyway. So
right,
basically,
it's
way ahead.
very, very low investment.
Right. So you're way ahead. So at 500, I mean, try to make 500 horsepower. You get a 440. You go through all the work. It's going to cost you at least 3,500 if you're cheap. That's if you're cheap.
Right. Yeah, try to do it with iron heads too.
Yeah, you're doing it with iron heads.
Yeah.
That's another thing. How would it work if you had a set of ported aluminum heads on there?
You know, my dyno guy and engine builder, he said himself that those heads, he looked at them. He said those heads are better than out of the box Edelbrock RPM. He said the way they did the bulwark and the way they ported them and the way it looks like they're gonna flow. He said they're better than a brand new out of the box set Edelbrock.
I think what happens is that you got the heavier pistons, okay, you got the heavier rods, okay, and that slows the motor down
a little bit.
So,
but I'm surprised. I mean, when he was just running the throttle off the stick, just kind of feeling the engine,
right.
That thing revs up fast. Right off idle, it'll crack real quick.
Oh, they did a lot of work. They took a lot of weight off that thing.
Oh yeah,
and off the crank.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would expect that.
I'm happy with it. It sounds really good.
I can't wait to hear it on the headphones.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I guess tomorrow morning.
Yeah, probably tomorrow morning. I got some stuff going on tonight. But yeah, I want to do this live, and I'll be on for a while longer. It's 20 after 4 o'clock here. I was going to go till 5, so I'll be on for a little while longer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Try to find not going to spoil anything, but I'm trying to find a video of it running.
The only thing you know about the cam is the lift, not the duration, right?
Yep.
Because Ron asked about it.
Yeah, Ron. I only know the lift.
You don't know the lobe separation, and you don't know the duration.
I'm assuming the lobe separation is a 108 based on what I've seen and based on another cam that I compared it to, which was a 112. Just looking at it visually.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to do for a run? 3,600 to 5,800. Yeah. It'll sound pretty good. I'm trying to find an audio clip of it running.
I agree with Bigfoot. If you probably put a bigger cam, you get more power.
The cam's not the limiter; it's the intake.
Well, that too. But you could change the intake to a
850 with 1-inch spacer.
A total ram, and get a 6 lift.
I'm not.
Pan.
I'm probably gonna
But we're not
modify.
doing that, right?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing a tunnel ram.
Not doing that, right?
What I'm gonna do potentially, I'm not claiming this, but what I'm gonna potentially do is I'm gonna modify the intake that's there. Long story short is they opened up the intake ports on the head so much that it is a very drastic difference between the
Oh,
port
okay.
on the intake and the port on the head.
So it's a big mismatch.
Big mismatch. The long story short is if you were to look at a windage tray, with the windage tray up against the head, the size of the port on a stock windage tray, the port on the head is a little bit wider, probably only about 1/8 of an inch overall wider, and it's probably a 1/4 inch taller.
When you talk about the valley pan?
Yeah, the valley pan.
Yeah.
Did I say windage tray?
Yeah.
Valley pan.
I'm trying to figure that out in my head.
I'm tired. No, not windage. The
The
valley
valley
pan.
pan.
The valley pan. The valley pan matches the intake, but neither the valley pan or the intake match the heads even close.
So you're saying there's a step right in front of that in the head
Yeah,
because of the valley pan.
and the size of the intake port.
Yeah. So yeah.
It
So that's
the when that intake charge breaks past the valley pan and gaskets and such, that opens by 25% at least, which is not good.
well, what's
Because it'll
happening is the air is going down in there, okay? And if you got that obstruction of the valley pan, the air is hitting that valley pan, and it's going to eddy. It's going to go into a circle.
Well, it's not hitting the valley pan because the port on the intake and the valley pan is the same. It's just the head that's different.
Okay, so it matches the intake, but not the other
Right.
side.
Right. I need to. Yeah. The
But
intake
still,
port.
you're like a little straw here and a big straw here. And you're trying to
Right.
pull all this air through this little straw. This big straw is sucking like crazy.
Well, and then you lose all your velocity immediately, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think if I got the intake to match or close to it,
Yeah, better results.
I think I'd probably get another 25 horsepower out of it.
And then
But
you get your number.
I'd probably get another 25 horsepower, another 10, 15 numbers on torque. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I mean, it's going in a 3,400-pound car with 3,500 converter and 456 gears, so
It should go down the track pretty good.
and a wheel well that will not hold tires wide enough. A wheel well that'll barely hold a 10-inch wide tire.
Yeah, but you're not going to modify that wheel well.
No, I'm not modifying that wheel well. Not modifying. Join us in the tunnel ram mafia. No.
Got the
No.
hole. Got the hole in the trunk. I mean the hood.
There's already going to be a hole in the hood, so I mean, it is kind of tempting.
Yeah.
No,
You can get some plexiglass, some nice blue plexiglass. Make your own scoop.
nah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, JMR says I agree on the port matching. No to the tunnel ram. There we go. Yeah, it's there's already going to be a hole in the hood. It's going to have one of those super stock scoops like the Jack Pine Savage has, that Bigfoot and Mopar has.
Right.
Same sort of thing. They look kind of funny. They make the 2-inch version of that, which is like what's on his car, and they make a 3-inch version, the 3-inch tall. I almost might want to do that, but I don't know. I think they look a little funny sometimes.
I like them so. If I could have a car, I would probably have two hoods. You know, one where I could just put the tunnel ram on whenever I want to, and then put the other hood whenever I feel like. I was gonna do
The
that to the
hoods,
Cordova.
the
'Cause I
hoods
got
for
like,
them are cheap.
yeah, I've got 3 or 4 hoods, so I can do that. I can cut one, and then just later on, boom.
Yeah,
I
like for
mean,
the Belvedere.
looking into like making a fiberglass, like making a master out of one of the steel hoods. After you get into material, man, it's a lot of money.
Right. Like the 66, and it's the same for 67 also. Those hoods, I mean, they're nothing special. They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, but they do repop them in fiberglass or not?
Um, yeah, they make the hood with the scoop already in it.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a lot for the Dart. They got a lot for like the 69 and 68 Chargers.
Yeah, Super Bees, Roadrunners, all that stuff.
Yeah, they got a lot of
All the
that stuff.
popular stuff.
Yeah.
The
Anything else, you're
66
gonna have to make it
Belvedere.
yourself.
Yeah, the 66 Belvedere is not as popular as those. Never will be either, but that's fine.
I like the 60. I like the boxy look of those cars.
Yeah. Think about
But
just
there was,
setting this on the intake and taking a picture. And then setting the little one on top of that.
then you gotta get the rest of it. You gotta get the crank, the rods, pistons, the intake. The
I'd be happy
heads.
with just an oil pan, heads, and an intake. I don't care if there's anything inside of it or not.
You know, I got one that's 1/6 scale that I built, and it doesn't have the pistons and stuff inside. But I do have a Chevy one that has that.
Yeah, I want to get one of the. They make a Hemi model. They make a Hemi model that actually turns over and everything.
Now, some of those miniature motors that actually run, they can go 10, 15 grand, dude. For a motor
Oh,
that
I
sits
wasn't.
on
I
your.
wasn't talking about that. I'm talking about something made out of like plastic and aluminum.
Oh no, these are made out of metal and they have valves and everything. It's just all really tiny.
Yeah,
I
everything
mean, it's
just
insane.
downscaled.
Oh, it's insane. I'm like, there ain't no way I would ever buy one. But it's just cool to see them run.
Build one and put it in a model car.
Oh, you could do it, but I mean, that car's gonna fly.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot of motor. I mean, you're better off
But
just using a weed whacker motor.
the power to weight ratio isn't the same.
Oh, if you use like a 75cc weed whacker motor and it go 1/8 scale buggy, oh man, you're talking about a 120 mile an hour car, little car,
Yeah.
120 miles an hour. It's crazy, man. You better not hit somebody, you'll kill them.
Hit somebody in the ankle.
Oh, you'll break it right off. At 120, you're insane.
They got those like little mini jet boat models too. Those are.
Yeah, I tell you, they got that. You see the guy with the YouTube guy? He's got like a tricycle, and he's got a jet on the back of it, and he rides around on it. And the thing is like insane. It's glowing orange, and it's only like a couple inches away from his head.
So,
The thing's glowing orange, man. I was like, holy crap! I don't
but
think
yeah,
I would ride that.
I'm happy with the dyno. It's
Yeah, that's good, man.
yeah,
Like I said,
it's
there's
really
no
good.
investment in it, and it's all free, right? Bang, all free horsepower.
Right,
I would be disappointed.
right.
Yeah.
No, I can truthfully say I have a 500 horsepower Ironhead 440.
All right, thank you, Crash.
Yeah, he lives near me.
I'll get you back when I get back to the other computer. Yeah. I was having problems with the headphones. I forgot how to freaking put them.
Two hacks. 500 horsepower or 501 horsepower, 550 torque.
They need to put it back in the whiteboard up there, big red letters.
Right. Oh, I got blue. Oh, jeez. I need an eraser thing. Oh, wait.
Blue
That's
work.
a cap and a marker.
It's probably B5 blue.
It's what?
B5 blue. Don't say
No.
it again. Don't
Or
say it again.
B7. B5, B5, B5. Come on, Jed. Yeah, where's he at?
No, it's not gonna happen today. I don't think so.
Yeah, I already told him what everything was.
He was up till like 3 in the morning yesterday, so I don't know how he feels today.
Yeah, how late were you guys on?
Where I'm at 3 o'clock. Where he's at probably 2 o'clock.
Yeah, if it's 3 o'clock for you, it's 2 o'clock for him.
Yeah. I'm on the East Coast. I don't know where he's at.
He's in Kansas.
Yeah, but what is that? What's the time zone?
Central, same as me.
Central, yeah, Central. Yeah.
My artwork is bad. There, 501.
501.
Send me a t-shirt. Did you guess right?
I gotta order my T-shirt.
I think JMR guessed 500.
I just sold the junk Saab, so I can money to buy a T-shirt now.
Well, that'd be cool. You don't have to if you don't want to, but
No, I want to. Just that I had to get the money first.
yeah, that'll
People
happen.
are crazy, man. I would never sink any money into that Saab. And some guy with a BMW comes up and asks me, "Well, how much do you want for it?" I was like, "What do you got?" You know how much money you put into a BMW over the years? This is insane. We could build like 20 Mopars with the money they put into a BMW.
Oh, you got 500 horsepower JMR? Yeah, if you wanna email me, I could I'll be happy to send you one. Yeah, I'll put my
Oh, that's right on the nose. Almost. One more would have been perfect.
yeah.
It really don't matter who subscribes to my channel because YouTube just takes them down.
Right.
Every single time. I'll get like 20 subs in a week.
No,
Like,
that is the wrong email. It's ryanbarsnesyt@gmail.com.
The other Ryan will get that.
Where did I even come up with that email? I don't own that email. I have no idea where I came up with that email.
Oh. You know, it's lawn cutting season, so people want their things fixed, their lawnmowers and stuff. And I get a text. I took a look and I didn't see any oil on the stick. Well, that's really good news. Hey, Tails, what's up, Tails?
Is Anthony in here? Tails, who? Yeah.
Tails, the junkyard.
Oh, that's great. I just broke my chair. The back of my chair just fell off.
Give you time to practice welding.
It's wood. It's not metal.
Oh, no, that's not okay. You're gonna have to go with plastic weld then. I've been just trying to find all my parts. I'm trying to go through all the parts, and go ahead and put everything organized so I can find shit.
Right.
Because I mean, when I want something, I don't want to go and like, oh, where is it? I just want to go to the shelf and there they are. There's 3 windshield wiper motors. All right there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Well, you have this. You tell me you don't have it that well organized.
No.
Well, I have to. It drives me nuts.
550.3.
Plus, if I organize, I always find stuff I didn't know I had.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, holy shit! I got 3 of these.
Oh, there's plenty of that. You have more of them than you thought you did.
Or you didn't know you even had that one part.
And you end up you have more than you needed.
It's always better to have more than you need.
Oh yeah.
I was watching what do you call Ruben's channel, and
Muscle
guy's
City
talking
Madness.
he's talking about flashers, and they're saying that there's no flashers at the store. I got a whole freaking box full of flashers.
All flashers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go to the junkyard, and if I go to the junkyard, I pull them. And my buddy was like, "Whatever you want, just take them." I said, "I don't care. I'm gonna crush them anyway." Okay.
Right. Didn't change the jetting? No.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Real quick, people that are in the comments that did not see me go through things, do you want me to go through things really quickly again? Just put a yes or a no in the comments. Because I'll go through the test real quick again. I'll be happy to show you. So I don't want anybody to think I'm lying.
That's not the one.
Don't want anybody. Yeah, go through it quickly. Okay. So, long story short, the engine is a 440. It's a 1970. It's got 6-pack pistons, 6-pack rods, forged crank. It's got a lot of lightning in the bottom end. It has a lot of balancing work and all that stuff. So, Ranji, what? It's had a lot of work to it and has about a 540 lift cam. Duration specs are unknown, and heavily ported 906 heads and a YN 7512 part number intake. So we did 8 tests. What kind of dyno Superflow? Yes, I believe so. I'll have to ask. Yeah, Superflow. Yep, it says right here. So first test we did with the 750, just kind of a little bit of a shakedown test to kind of wake it up a little bit. We went from 3,400 RPM to 5,000 RPM, just kind of wake it up. We did this at 35 degrees of timing and with a 750 carb, 750 Holly. The peak numbers at this was 526.1 pound-feet of torque at 4,300 RPM, and the peak horsepower was at 5,000 RPM. It was 470.4, and it was still climbing, but we only ran to 5,000 RPM, so we didn't see the true potential at that run. But you can see on the flow numbers that it already ran out of carburetor at 5,000 RPM with that 750. So next test, we went to the 850, kept the timing the same at 35 degrees. And then we decided to change the test a little bit from 3,500 to 5,500. So new numbers, 429.6 torque at 4,100 RPM. 478 horsepower at 5,100. Anybody wants to look at that stuff there.
What was the max RPM you ran it at?
6,000.
Okay, cool.
6,000, and it wasn't pulling beyond like 5,800 anyways, so I didn't miss out on anything.
Yeah, it's not worth pulling it that high if it's not pulling.
Yeah, there's no point in pushing it if it didn't need to.
Yeah, it's just
So
taking a chance on a rod going through.
right. What were the headers again? The headers were 1 7/8 primary into a 3-inch collector. And then the next test with the 850, 35 degrees of timing, same everything. We added a 1-inch open spacer. And that and we went from 3,500 to 5,800. So raise the RPM a little bit. Peak torque was 537.7 at 4,200. The horsepower peak was 490 at 5,200. That was our third test. And that was with a 1-inch spacer, 35 degrees of timing, and an 850. So we decided to mess with the timing a little bit. We bumped it up to 37 degrees of timing. With 37 degrees of timing, the numbers dropped a little bit. Peak torque was 533 at 4,200 RPM. And the horsepower dropped to 488 at 5,200. So only a few numbers on each side, but clearly we're moving the wrong way on timing. So the next test, we went to our fifth run. The next test, we went to 32 degrees of timing. Still keeping the 1-inch open spacer, still keeping the 850. Everything's the same. We just went to 32 degrees of timing. We like that a lot better. Torque went to 437.9 at 4,400. Actually raised the torque a little bit in the RPM range. And the horsepower went to 493.8 at 5,500. So it raised the RPM on the power side of things as well. Run number 6, we went to 30.5 degrees. So drop it by 1.5 degrees. Again, because it continued to like what we were doing. So torque peak was 540 at 4,200 RPM. The power peak was 495 at 5,400. So we backed it off just a little bit more again. Test number 7, we went to 29 degrees, so took another 1.5 degrees out of it. And the torque peak was 4,300 RPM and 541 torque. And the power peak was 495.7 at 5,300. And it was really holding there, and it had a lot of power for 300 or 400 RPM. It stayed exactly the same, pretty much. So, and I didn't want to knock timing any further below that. I felt like it was pretty good there. So that was 29 degrees of timing with 850 and a 1-inch open spacer. Final test, we went to the 2-inch super sucker spacer. Were you running any carb spacers? Yes, I'm talking about that right now. And this was the final test, and I don't think we could have got any more out of it. Maybe could have adjusted the timing a little bit. Maybe could have adjusted the jetting and the carbs. There wasn't more than 10 more numbers on the table at all, and I wasn't going to stress it too much. But the peak number for torque, 550.3. And that was at let me see, 4,200 RPM. So that was really good. And then the horsepower was 501.6 at 5,500 RPM. So, and that was really good. That broke the 500 number, and it ran really good, sounded really good. And for people that want to watch kind of the process, I'm currently working on doing a video on it right now. I took a bunch of video clips. I'm going to stitch them together The video is going to be a little bit hectic just because I don't talk very much in it. It's mostly just kind of run and then maybe talk a little, then another run, then another run, then another run. So,
So, what was the issue about the not having fire in the beginning when you was talking about that?
yeah. So, one thing that happened before we couldn't even start it is we looked at the distributor that was in it, and there was no mechanical advance in it. There's no movement at all. There's a pin that usually moves in a slot. There's no slot. It was just a pin through a hole. So I don't know if that was a racing application or what, but we took that one out and put a different brand new one out of the box in, and was hoping that would work. And that was bad. That was junk, brand new out of the box.
What
So we
maker?
ended up putting the original one back in. So,
But what maker was the one that was bad? Who made it?
that was Mopar.
Wow.
Yeah, that was Mopar. That was a brand new Mopar distributor.
Was it a
brand new distributor, brand new cap, brand new internals, everything.
Was it a points distributor or what?
Electronic ignition.
Wow, that's messed up.
Brand new out of the box, and it was bad. So, kind of goes back to people talking about the whole
making shit in China. That's the problem.
Well, that's real. So,
I bet you the problem's that damn pickup. I bet you the pickup is worthless.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we were trying to track it down. We were like, well, is the coil bad on?
Well, if you measure the pickup, it should be about 300 ohms, 7 to 750. If you got that, and then if you get any kind of movement on the AC scale, that would mean it'd be working. But if it's not working, you ain't gonna get a spark.
Mm-hmm.
And
how long is William asked how long was the distributor sitting in the box? From what he told me, less than 3 months. 2 or 3 months.
I'm saying made in China garbage. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a brand new. It was brand new reproduction. It wasn't.
Guarantee you that pickup was made in China. I've got like 30 or 40 of those distributors, right? And every single one of them works perfectly fine, and they're all 30, 40 years old.
Right.
How does that work out? And something that's only how old is just bad out of the box? Really?
Right. So, better find some 410s or you won't make it down the quarter. Yeah, I have 410s. I have 355s. I have 391s. But for 8th mile, I got 456s. So,
I like
that'll be good for the 8th. Yeah, if a distributor sits in a box more than a year, yeah, I've seen them go bad. But this was sitting a couple months. But we don't know how long it was sitting in a box on a shelf in a warehouse somewhere, Who knows?
Mine are sitting in a shed outside. How does that not make them not work?
Yeah, I know. It sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
If the quality's not there, it's not there.
Yeah,
I can grab one right now. I bet you there's one in here somewhere.
Yeah, and there's one guy that makes a really good distributor. He's actually local to the Minnesota area, but I don't know whatever happened to him or whatever happened to his business, but there's a business that was a RT Garage, and they made the Revenator, and I don't know whatever happened to them.
What I said.
Yeah.
I bet you I measure this guy. I bet you I put an oscilloscope up to the wires here on the pickup, and I'll get a nice square wave out of it. No problem at all.
Oh, I'm sure.
So how the hell can something like this go bad unless the quality's not in this?
I don't know either. I'm not sure.
If this magnet, for instance, loses magnetism, it's done. It's over with.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because that's how you generate the signal. The signal goes by as the rotor goes by. It breaks that magnetism. It creates creates a wave that the box sees, the electronic box sees, and that's how it fires the coil.
Yeah. Yeah, like this is the second bad
Newer
bad
stuff, right?
well, this is the second bad distributor related thing I've dealt with. When I had that
The one,
73 Charger,
right?
took me forever to figure out what the heck was wrong with that stupid thing. I mean, it ran, but it never ran right. It never worked right. I mean, right off idle, if you were to crack it right off idle, it just was not happy. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And it would actually die. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on. So I went through a brand new fuel pump, cleaned out all the fuel lines, swapped a different carburetor on it. I
I
pulled the front
remember a
cover
video
off
like that. Yeah, I remember a
and
video you were
and
doing.
did the brand new timing chain on it and everything. Still the same thing. The distributor was bad or out of adjustment or whatever you want to say. The distributor wasn't happy.
Was it a new distributor or an old one?
It was the original to the engine.
Okay. It could have been you had a lot of wobble inside the bushings, and you were constantly
Could
getting
be.
movement back and forth.
Right.
I mean, very rarely are these reluctors out of time. On the like small blocks, it happens more often.
Right. Like I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I know that when I actually swapped it with a different distributor, it ran great. No problems at all. It had full RPM range, just smooth and clean. Have I given you an update on that car, Mopar Nut?
What, the 73?
Yeah.
Well, you sold it, right? So what happened to it?
Yeah, it's down in Texas now. Really great guy, ended up with it. I talked to him once in a while. He's driving it now. He loves the car.
Cool. That car should be driven.
Oh yeah. He just loves that car. He had a guy professionally like clean up and buff the original paint, and I'm like, wow, that's just crazy.
And you can do a lot with buffing them.
He's having a guy, or he already did. I don't know if he did or not, but he's having a guy go through, put a brand new dash pad, a brand new headliner in it, so the interior will all be nice. And he's putting different seat covers on the front to match the rear seat, because the seat covers that are in it they're out of like a Cordoba or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do to keep it going, right?
Yeah. Dang, Ryan, what? You say my exes live in tech? What do you? I'm missing a joke. I'm probably missing a joke.
Though, man, those dashes are not cheap either. I think the
only
I guess the only company really that does a complete thing is Just Dashes, and they're like
wrong email. Are you on? Wrong email. Are you on Messenger? No, I was trying to talk to. I mean, you can email me if you want to email me, but I was trying to get. Let me see. Oh, email from Diana. Okay. It's Ryan Barsness YT@gmail.com. I sent the wrong email at first. The Ryan Barsness 2001 at Gmail. I don't even have that email. I don't know why I typed that. It's Ryan Barsness YT@gmail.com. It's my YouTube channel name, which is my name, and then YT@gmail.com. So try that. Otherwise, I am on Facebook. So message me there. Or if you, and on Instagram. Or if you go to pretty much any of my videos, not the lives, but pretty much any of my videos, I have my email in the description as well as my Facebook page and all kinds of stuff. So there's definitely ways to contact me. And if you have any sort of problems, let me know. Well, try to find a way to let me know. So, JMR Ryan.
Yeah, Thursday on the live. Let me know.
Yeah, right. Just Facebook? Yeah. Well, I have Messenger through Facebook.
Well, Joe said
Ryan and
21
Mopar
13
Nut.
was about it.
Hey, Mopar Nut, read this one.
Yeah, so what's wrong with having a stockpile?
Yeah. Tom
You
Muse.
got
I guess I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. With lopsided power numbers like that, what does that tell you you have room for? As far as what's holding it back right now, I don't know if you were in when I was talking about, but the intake port is far smaller than the intake port on the intake manifold is far smaller than the intake port on the actual head. So I need to either get new intake or modify that intake to match to have a smoother transition. I believe I'm getting some problems there. So if that's what you're asking, that's what I would say about that. Lopsided power numbers, I guess I'm not sure where you're seeing that, or maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. The power numbers, and I can show you the papers if you want. The power numbers are pretty consistent up top. Peak power is usually. Oh, okay, yeah, you got what you were looking for. Yeah, yeah. As far as what's holding it back is the intake manifold to head transition. So that's holding it back, as well as I think once that is solved, the next thing after that might be the cam. 540 lift is a really nice lift and nice everything about it, but it might not be enough to be able to feed the rest of the engine. The torque's larger than the horsepower, sign a small port. Yeah, there's a lot of velocity in the intake going into the head, but once it hits the head, it gets really open and probably causes some turbulence and slows it down. So that's what I'm thinking right now, at least. And as far as torque being higher than the horsepower, I have no problem with that. You know, you feel the torque more than you feel the horsepower in the car. And the torque, you know, even from the factory, a factory HP 440 is 375 horsepower, 440 torque. No, 480 torque, excuse me. So the way the 440 is designed from the beginning is more torque oriented, because it does have small ports, high velocity comparatively. So yeah, that's a good thing. Roy Boy, I am, or I'm what?
Nice answered, Tails. Because I haven't replaced an ignition box or a distributor in 15 years. I haven't had one fail.
I have bad ignition box. Diana, I do have your message here, so I'm assuming you're on behalf of JMR about getting a free t-shirt. That's what I'm assuming based on the chat I'm seeing. But regardless, we'll get that figured out. So yeah. But I will say, yeah, intake swap would equalize both those numbers at about 535. Yeah. I'm definitely leaning towards I'm good with the higher torque. Regardless, even if I just left it as is, never touch anything, which I might, you know, I'm not gonna be able to put the power that I have to the ground. So I'm not too worried about that. Roy Boy, I'm late to the party. Real quick, here it is. 501.6 horsepower, 550.3 torque. So it's pretty good. So yeah, that's what that ended up being. Nobody guessed 501, but somebody guessed 500, so I'll cover that.
Hey, wins in the Bob likes that.
What?
The Price is Right, Bob.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
whoever came the closest was the winner, without going over.
right.
That's my problem. I went over.
What's the overlap? I'm blanking out. I'm not sure what you mean. The lobe separation angle is 108, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think you know the overlap either because you don't have the numbers. None of the numbers.
Yeah. Roy Boy, just to let you know the RPMs that it happened at. The torque was 550 at 4200. The horsepower was 501.6 at 5500 RPM. So that's how that ended up being. So that's pretty good. But yeah, I will say I was going to run it till 5 o'clock. It is 5:01. I do have some other stuff going on this evening, but I'm going to cut it short here. If anybody needs to message me for anything, I got Instagram, Facebook, Messenger, all that stuff. So just under my normal name. So, but I'm going to cut it there. And thanks everybody for coming on. And definitely within the next 24 hours or so, I'm going to have a full dyno video. Dyno video of the actual polls, and you can actually see real time what it did, and you can see the way it sounds too. It sounds really good. So really kind of choppy idle, but really good overall. But I'm gonna leave it there now. I'll see you guys later.
All right, later on.